15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
My dad used to say that.
Sure, yeah. It's from Geico.
Yeah, whenever I would ask my dad for life advice, he'd sit me down and say, son, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. And look at me now, a well-adjusted adult with a drawer full of plastic bags I'll never use.
Okay, I'm confused. Was your dad a licensed Geico agent?
Nah, he was just a real good dad.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
He's a hometown kid who became a major league star. And now he's part of our broadcast family here in Atlanta. It's the Jeff Francoeur Show. Frenchie is only on the Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
Talk to him each and every Tuesday on the Hobson and Hobson Newsmaker line, Jeff Francoeur. And, Jeff, we've talked about it all season long. It's been a weird, bizarre season, and now, finally, the weird, bizarre season seemingly has turned the corner, and everybody's happy, and rightfully so.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they've done exactly what they've needed to do the last 2 weeks. It's a part of their schedule that we felt like they were a much better team than the teams they were playing. They're healthy. They got a deep lineup, and now, you know, they're getting really, really good pitching also. You combine that, you're going to get a nice little winning streak. And the good news is, I think, look, you got 5 more games, 2 at the Marlins, 3 with the Orioles this weekend. That's important to hit a 4-1 maybe in these 5 and finish with a 8-1 road trip that really builds you a little cushion, because you know what's going to happen is eventually the Phillies are going to be able to play their little kind of area of the schedule while the Braves have to play the Giants and Dodgers. So look, they're doing exactly what they need to do right now.
And it was great to see Touki Toussaint say it after the game and see him do it during the game, even though he gave up a couple of solo home runs. He minimized the damage, and he threw strikes.
I'll tell you what, Nick, after he gave up that second solo shot, I turned to Chip after the second inning when we went off air, for the break, and I said, I would rather see that than 32 pitches, 2 walks, and a K to get out of and give up no runs. Because to me, this is how he's going to be successful when he pounds his zone. He left 2 pitches up, and that was it. That's going to happen. I'll take 2 solo shots every start. The idea to me that he threw strikes and went after guys, that's what I wanted to say.
Hey, Jeff, I don't know Travis d'Arnaud well enough to know. I know he's been around and he's seen pretty much, I guess, almost everything you can see. And each pitcher is different. We're going to hear a cut from Dave Roberts talking about Max Scherzer coming up in a little bit. But the idea that you become part psychiatrist, part psychologist, sometimes it's sit next to me, get on the couch. We're going to talk about it. I don't know if he talked to Touki after that inning. Maybe it's a glance. Maybe it's a pat on the butt. Maybe it's a punch in the sternum to wake him up. Whatever it is, you talk about how important a catcher's role is between innings and games.
Yeah, well, especially a guy like Travis. I mean, he's got such credibility in that clubhouse, not only for the year he had last year, but the guys he's caught in the past. I mean, DeGrom and Syndergaard and all the great starters he's been able to do down in Tampa, for God's sakes, for those guys. So, look, he has had a lot of these pitchers. He's known how to work with these guys. And I love it that he's right there after every inning, right with Touki, talking to them as they're walking in, as they're sitting down. And look, I think for Touki, hopefully that's a relief to the fact that I can feel like I just got to go out there and pitch. Whatever he puts down, I'm going to throw and trust the process. And for me, it's just execute the pitch. And I hope that for him, that's simplified, his mentality. And like I said, last night it showed.
We saw one young pitcher do it last night in Touki. Hopefully, Huascar Ynoa can do it again tonight. No limitations, Brian Snitker said on him. And, Chris, I like what you said earlier. You hope that Huascar Ynoa doesn't feel like he has to get everything back, Jeff, in one start tonight.
No, look, and I think that's the thing. Rick Kranitz, Snit, I'm sure they've all told him for the most part, look, go out there and just throw your game. Obviously, what happened 3 months ago happened 3 months ago. There's nothing you can do about it. He apologized. He's learned his lesson. It hurt nobody but the team himself. So, look, all that's forgotten. He's got to go out there tonight and pitch. He got it up to 90 pitches in his last rehab start. So, as you said, the training wheels are off. He's going to go throw. And, look, he's going to need to throw a good game tonight because Sandy Alcantara on the other side, we've seen him numerous times, and he's got great stuff. So, what we saw last night would be very shocking to see 12 runs. Now, I wouldn't put it past this offense the way they're swinging the bat, but I have a feeling this game's going to be a little closer tonight.
I'm not saying you will, but just the idea that we had brought this up a couple of days ago, that Dansby Swanson could be your home run leader in the clubhouse when all is said and done. That's a little bit crazy to think about. You would have said, how horribly wrong is it? To say that when they're in first place feels pretty incredible, does it not right now?
It does. And the thing I've been most impressed is his contact. He's putting the ball in play. And, I mean, we were talking a guy that had struck out 100-plus times in the first 100 games. I mean, but maybe even before that, I think. So, I mean, he was really struggling putting the ball in play. And all of a sudden now, you know, you see a guy who's fouling pitches off. If he pops up, okay, I'll get him the next AB. And really it's contagious throughout the lineup. You're seeing the way even Soler had struggled for 3-4 games in a row. He drops 2 doubles last night beautifully in the right center gap, left center gap, seeing exactly what you want to see. So this offense is just feeding off each other right now, and it's pretty fun to watch.
And the hustle from Dansby Swanson later on in the game, it's something else we discussed earlier in the show. When you're playing winning baseball, listen, you want to see everybody hustle all the time, but that's a part of playing winning baseball. You're in first place. Everything is going to go 110% that you do.
Yeah, and you can tell the difference between where the Marlins are at and where the Braves are at. You know, the Marlins looking at Dansby, looking at Snit like, come on, it's 10-2. Why are we challenging that? Where the Braves are sitting there saying, hey, we got a knock. And what happened? They ended up getting 2 more runs out of it. Darno split the gap for a double and drove into. So I said that's the mentality difference to me of where the two teams are at right now. And at the end of the day, I love to see that hustle. I love the difference between 1-5 and 2-for-5. Look, that's another point on your average. And for Dansby, you know, it's another $1, you know, in arbitration. So, God, I love the way they're playing.
I did a percentage thing. I heard the cut from Freddie Freeman talking about how much he really respects and loves Adam Duvall. And I just said, when you hear that cut, whatever the Freddie Freeman re-signed percentage was at, it just went up 10% for me. And I'm not telling you that that's nothing but an arbitrary number, because it kind of is. But he sounds like a guy who, if you thought it was 40%, 60% chance he signed here, his cut last night bumped the percentage up for me, because that sounds like what Freddie Freeman is supposed to sound like during a season, free agency impending or not.
You know, Chris, and I think another great point, though, is Adam Duvall, Jock Peterson. I think some of these guys, not that, you know, Freddie's an old guy who's 39 years old, but look, I think he's got some guys around him that he's got stuff in common with and that he's hanging out with and different stuff like that. So I think that's what's important too. I think he's got guys that, you know, when you have an offense like that and you don't have to do everything and you feel like you can pass the baton, and if you go 0-for-5 one night, look, the team can still win a game 6-2. I think you're seeing Freddie, obviously winning helps, but I think the type of winning and the type of group they have in there right now can do nothing but help, because you can tell Freddie's having a lot of fun.
All right, you and I had a conversation yesterday. I don't know how comfortable you are bringing it up, but if I say Charlie Morton, what do you think?
I'd call him yesterday morning and offer him a 1-year, $15 million to come right back. Look, he has been everything you want and more. He's been reliable. He's took the bump. And I think this is a guy who still wants to pitch. When you have the stuff he does, and look, you got Max Fried. We love the thought of Mike Soroka being back next year, but you need that veteran leader as that number one. When you go out there for the postseason, hopefully this Braves team in game 1, that's who you're rolling out there. That's the guy who wanted the mound. That's why they went and got him. And, you know, for me, I think if you were able to re-sign him, the starting pitching's done. You don't have to go get anybody else next offseason. You got your guy, and you can concentrate on other stuff. But that's the guy I want back.
What a difference 30 days makes, because we were talking about selling off, and obviously when you talk about selling off, a veteran and Charlie Morton comes to mind, and now 30 days later we're saying, hey, look, we need to bring him back.
Absolutely, right? And then you think about where we stand. I mean, just 16, 17 days ago, we're 5 games behind the Mets. 4 games behind the Mets, and now all of a sudden you're 3 games up on the Mets, and they still got 9 more games of that 13-game stretch we've talked about. And, they're 0-4 in the first 13 of them. So, and look, the Phillies, we talked about it. Yes, they play Arizona, but then they got San Diego and Tampa. So, like I said, this Braves team is doing exactly what they need to do. And the good news for them is you continue to hit at this clip, which I get you're going to come back to earth a little bit, but if you can hit at this kind of Clip, you're going to win some games, 8-6 on the road too, which I think this team's very capable of doing.
I asked a question earlier. Let's finish up with this. Have you ever gone to the ballpark early to walk around to the outfield? I brought up the Ted Williams seat in Boston. If a guy hits a bomb like Duvall or Stanton hits a bomb in Miami, do guys ever go out to see from that point of view how far that actually is, looking back to home plate? Did you do any sort of sightseeing in these ballparks when you were playing?
I went to Ted in Boston. I remember at RFK they had one where Frank Robinson hit one, and it was, ungodly how far it was. And I remember we walked up to the third deck, and myself and Pete Orr, I remember, and just sat there in the two seats next to it and thought, there's no way you can hit a baseball.
Was that Frank Howard?
Yeah, Frank Howard, I think.
Frank Howard, yeah, sorry, not Frank Robinson, Frank Howard. And I remember thinking, there's no way you can possibly hit a baseball this far.
So you went up, you did some exploring, you actually saw some parts of the ballpark?
Absolutely. And, you go to Miami, I'm telling you, where that dent was last night, where Adam Duvall, sit there and you think about how far that is. Like you said, you really only saw Stanton go there majority of the time. You didn't see many other people out there hitting it there.
And hopefully that trend continues tonight down in Miami. Jeff Francoeur, always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Jeff Francoeur with us on the Hobson and Hobson Newsmaker line.
Real estate agents can get full visibility into their clients' loan status and help them get to closing faster with Rocket Pro Insight. Sign up today at rocketpro.com/real estate.
Offer cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. MLS Consumer Access.org number 33.